Hello and welcome. We want to thank everyone for tuning in to this live stream today. As we have everyone filling into the chat, we wanted to open up a little bit early, give folks time to join. And also, if you guys are viewing from different locations, feel free to comment down below where you might be viewing from. All right, I see a few other people coming through. So yeah, if you guys have questions as well, like always, feel free to save those questions till the end and we will make sure that we get them answered. You can just leave the questions in the comment section and we'll make sure that we get them addressed. And we're looking to start around the top of the hour here. So that's just about 4 minutes from now. Okay, again, everyone who's viewing from different locations and different ports, we know that this is being streamed out to a couple different countries, couple different cities as well. So if you guys want to drop in the chat where you might be viewing from, that would be great. And then, like I mentioned before, for anyone that didn't hear already, if you guys do have questions for our speaker today, feel free to also put those into the chat and we'll make sure that we open up the floor around the end to answer any of those questions. Today we have a wonderful presentation by Emilio Freeman. He will be talking to us about Northern Europe and specifically some of the exciting itineraries that we have booked for 2026. All right, it looks like we are getting some folks joining in and we plan to start at the top of the hour. So that's just about 2 minutes from now. We want to also thank everyone for being here. We really appreciate the time and attention. And as I had mentioned before, we have a wonderful speaker today. We'll have Emilio Freeman coming to talk today about some of the great itineraries that we have planned on SEADREAM 1 and SEADREAM 2 during 2026, and specifically how it relates to our Northern Europe season. All right, so it's about the top of the hour here, so I will play our countdown and we will get started with the webinar. Thank you again, everyone.
Hello, everybody. My name is Emilio Freeman. I am the Vice President of Itineraries and Destinations for SEADREAM Yacht Club. And the topic for today was our Norway, Northern European voyages. We are going there in 2025 and 2026. And what I wanted to do is just give you a quick recap of what we are looking to do next year, the year after in Northern Europe. We have voyages that are going in 2025 up to Norway and over to Scandinavia in the Baltic. And then in 2026, we are mixing that up a little bit. We're still going to Norway. Actually, we're doubling down on Norway, and I'll talk to you about that in a second here. But we are going to the British Isles, covering Scotland and Northern Ireland and some other destinations further south before we return back to the Mediterranean. But I thought about this, and there's a lot of regions that I could discuss with you and talk to you about. But I wanted to just focus a little bit more on why I think it's better for us to focus on 2026 Norway. We're doubling down on that. We have 6 11-day voyages and 3 7-day voyages in Norway. And what you can see on this chart here, this is the only numbers chart. This is the only chart that I'll show you that will give you an idea of where we stand in 2025 in Northern Europe. You see a lot of red, and red is good for us. Red means basically that we're sold out. We're on wait list. There's limited opportunity. I think that you probably see only 1 or 2 voyages on here that show some availability. The rest of them, when I say wait list, there are staterooms available, but certain guests want to be in a particular unit, so they're on wait list. They'll eventually take what's available as we get closer into the date. But you can see that the reds pretty much are the 4 Norway voyages that we have planned for 2025. So I thought it might be better for us to focus on what we're doing in Norway for 2026. As I said, 6 plus 3, 11 days and 3 7-day voyages. Now, why are they so popular in 2025? What are people thinking? And that really gets back to our roots. We are, as SEADREAM Yacht Club, we are truly, in my opinion, and I think many other people that are here or that are within the travel industry will say, yeah, SEADREAM's got a lot to offer. We are the only true Norwegian company that sails in and around Norway. All the other ones that they might have Norwegian in their name, they might have an owner that is Norwegian, but they're publicly traded. They're not truly a Norwegian company. Our heritage, we are a family-run business. Our owner, when we looked at Norway, taking our vessels to Norway in 2020, in the start of the pandemic, we took the bold decision of sailing north to Norway with both of our vessels, and we were sold out. We only offered those voyages to Norwegians. We published things online at Facebook, LinkedIn, and all the other social media sites that are out there. And our non-Norwegian guests saw that, and they said, wow, we love what you're planning and what you did in 2020 and in 2021, and we want to join that. So it took us until 2025 to offer that. And you can see we're sold out, as I just showed you. And for 2026, we're doubling down. We have 6 plus 3, all because of our Norwegian heritage. These voyages were pretty much handcrafted by our owner himself, by Atle Brindstad. So I wanted to just share with you, rather than take you through each one of these destinations in random order, I wanted to take you through a sample voyage, a sample 11-day 2026 voyage, and take you through what we're planning on a day-to-day basis, so you get a flavor of what we're looking at. So on this particular one, it's in mid-June of 2026. We're planning to take SEADREAM 2 and start from Oslo, Norway. Oslo, very hip, beautiful cultural city. I had the opportunity of living there 2 different times in my career, and I loved it. When you think about all the development that they've done recently in the last, I'm going to say 5 or 6 years, adding a national museum, the Opera House, the Monk Museum, the Akerbrygger area, beautiful places in the city of Norway. As I said, very hip, a lot of culture and a lot of artistic flavor. We will leave Oslo and we'll sail south. We'll snake our way through the Oslo fjord, and it's a great afternoon, early evening sail out of Oslo through the Oslo fjord. And the highlight really in that particular beginning of the voyage is sailing near a town called Drobak. And Drobak, it's fairly narrow, beautiful sights. It's just the beginning of what you will see when we get to the west coast of Norway and sail north to Tromsø. But this is a great way to have a cocktail party and begin the journey with SEADREAM. So from there, we head south. We go a little ways. It's our only international call. We go to Skyen, Denmark, and in Skyen, Denmark, it's at the very tip of Denmark. It's the most northern point in Denmark. And what you see there is the opportunity for people to go and put their feet both in the Baltic as well as the North Sea at the same time. This picture kind of shows, you can't really see it well, but buried in there is a small little bus with a group of people that are doing what I just talked about. There's the church in the sand, and it's actually the steeple of the church that's out of the sand. And all of this is very close to the proximity of where we will be, all within walking distance or a short bike ride. Denmark is really known for being a biking country, and here is an opportunity where we can take out our bikes or rent some bikes for our guests and have you enjoy them as we go through. It's a great, lovely, small little Danish town, great for walking around. The people are wonderful, and we stopped there for an afternoon, the first day at the start of our journey. Well, actually, it was the second day. On the third day, we head north. We come back along the Norwegian coast, and we go to Rosendal. And in Rosendal, it is the gateway. It's the start of a few days in this journey where we will be visiting the Norwegian fjords. This is all fjord-land territory for us and for you that are beginning joining us during this voyage. And in this area, it's a small, quaint little town, and I might say that a few times. And this gives you the opportunity to really understand. We don't take you to all of those big industrial metropolis cities in wherever we go. This is a sample of where we take you to a destination that's pretty much off the beaten path. Not very many cruise lines, travel companies will go to Rosendal, not because they don't want to, but because it's fairly inaccessible if you try to go there on a small vessel. So in there, we have the chance to go to, let me see if I can pronounce this correctly, Folganfona. It's a glacier. We'll have an opportunity to take you there. The colors, you can see the blues in this picture. They're absolutely beautiful. And then from there, we go on. This area, Rosendal and Hardanger Fjord, is known for being the fruit basket of Norway. A lot of apple trees, and it's actually in the late May and into late June, which we'll have voyages going through there at that time. It is apple blossom season, so you'll see lots of beautiful trees with the flowers growing off of them. To me, it's almost like what you might see when you go to Japan during cherry blossom season in late April at the beginning of spring. So we go there, and then we continue north. From there, we go to Bergen. Bergen, the second largest city in Norway, very historically known for being the epicenter for trade and for shipping. A lot of shipping during the Viking era when they were trading with the Hanseatic Germanic countries, cities down south. There's a lot of history there. It's the second largest city in Norway. And again, it's also I'm going to call it the capital of the fjords region of Norway. And then from here, you'll see, you can step off the ship, or the yacht, I should say, excuse me. We step off the yacht and you can walk right into the seafront area of Bergen, and what you see is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Beautiful. If you ever seen pictures of Norway, this is one that always captures the beauty of Bergen. You take the funicular up to, I forget the name of the mountain, Folget or something along that line, but it's you take the funicular up to the top, you get a great view. It's the home of Edvard Grieg. Edvard Grieg is a very well-known Norwegian composer, and he is from this area. He actually also has a museum in Oslo as well. You get a chance if you want to get a little bit of adventure, a little bit of excitement. We'll take you through a rib and take you through the water here and have a great time. You don't need to worry about bringing any jackets. They supply the jackets at this site. And we'll also take you, if you don't like the adventure, if you don't like the culture, if you like learning a little bit more about the local culture, we'll take you to a farmhouse outside of Bergen, where you'll get to meet the locals and partake in some of the local food there. Continuing on, and we take you up to Vik, Norway, and you can see that we go all the way up. It's about 75 miles, or about 120 kilometers through the fjords in Vik near Sognafjord, and it's on the southern shore of Sognafjorden, and we take you there. It's another smaller Norwegian town where you can see there's a stave museum, or I'm sorry, a stave church from the 1100s, the 12th century. Beautiful, beautiful, fantastic. It's all very, very close to where we dock in Vik. Now, I started saying about going up that long channel, about 75 miles. We're going to do this in between several of our calls along the way here. And as I said to you before, this is fjord country. We were there in 2020 and in 2021, and you'll see some pictures here of one of our yachts going through this region. And the vistas and the scenery are just absolutely spectacular. And you will have the opportunity to be enjoying breakfast, lunch, dinner as this vista goes by. Great. I'm thinking Instagram, TikTok, social media sites that you can take pictures of and post as you go along. And this looks like it's in the late afternoon. This is actually in the early evening. As we go further north, the light stays on longer. This is a picture that was taken from the vessel at approximately 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So you can see the sun still coming through the mountains that are there, through the fjords. And where we can, we'll take our Zodiacs and we'll take you for little spins up and down the fjords where the local governments will allow us to do this. We did this in 2020 and 2021, and we'll look to do it again in 25 and 26. From there, we continue on and we make our way to Olden, again, through this fjord. This is now Nordfjord, and we're going all the way to the end of Nordfjord to another area that is just absolutely spectacular with great vistas and views. From here, there is the Briksdal Glacier, and at the Briksdal Glacier we take a troll car from where we are alongside, and you take this troll car up to a spot, and they stop, and you have to walk across a bridge, and then as you're walking across the bridge, and you hike up a little bit higher, not too hard, but it's not for the faint. You walk, and as you make the turn, it's just absolutely spectacular. This fjord, this glacier, I should say, is connected with another glacier that I don't even want to try to pronounce. It starts with a J, those of you that have been in this region. It's considered the largest glacier in all of Europe, and we'll have the opportunity to take you there via troll car and a short little hike. So from there, we'll also be able to operate our kayaks and our paddle boards, and we did that in the past. So you can see that there's a little site there where it's a little more active, and it's really not. I'm not going to say this. SEADREAM is not really designed necessarily for kids. We don't shy away from having kids on board, but we are more about couples. We're more about having adults come on board and enjoying the lifestyle on board. It's very romantic. So from there, we continue on and go to Molloy. I got to try to pronounce that in my Viking Peruvian heritage way. Anyway, so we make our way to Molloy, and then from there, that is another. It's located on almost the most western part of Norway, and you can see that we come alongside in this small little town again. And what it's known for is, because it's so far west, beautiful, iconic lighthouses that are there. And you can see this particular lighthouse that's there on a calm day, but when the seas get rough, and why it's a lighthouse is when you can see that it gets pretty rough. You can see I wouldn't want to be living in this place, but it's very interesting. It's a great program that we offer. Also in that area, there is the Celia Monastery, again from about the 11th century, and from there this, when you read up about it, they say it's almost like mythical. Beautiful, beautiful, a lot of history here. And we'll have the opportunity to take you to one of these, to this monastery here out along the shore. From there, we continue north, and now we're going to Ålesund. Ålesund is known for being the Venice of the North. The Venice of, why do they say that? Because in this town, there's lots of canals. People take their boats through the canals. Beautiful scenery. We're there in the summertime. The light is now staying, it's staying light even longer through the day. Beautiful. The flowers are there. It's a great city to walk around. And Ålesund is really known for being one of the centers for Art Nouveau. And what I mean by that is, if you're an architecture buff, this particular area, the whole city was burned down in, I think it was 1904. And when that happened, the city government said, we're going to rebuild, but we're going to do it in a certain style. And they built everything in the Art Nouveau style. There's only a few cities in the world that are like this, and Ålesund is one of them. Great for walking around, as I said. It's also known as being a fishing town. I know that a few years ago, or a few centuries ago, they were very well known for being the bacalao center or the cod center for Norway. Going on. I should say this, Ålesund is also known as being the gateway to some of the more iconic fjords, like Geiranger Fjord. We don't really take you there because many of our guests have been there, and our focus is not to take you where the big cruise ships to places that are a little bit more off the beaten path. But if you do want to get to fly over or see Geiranger Fjord or some of the other iconic fjords in this area, you can do it via helicopter, or you can do it via seaplane. We'll make that available as a yachting land adventure, or YLA as we call them, for our guests. Again, or you can do it's a great place to go hiking up to Mount Axla. Axla, great Instagram moments where you can take your picture, have it sent out to all of your friends on social media, and get a good vista of the city of Ålesund. And then from there, we continue going further north to Rørvik, across the open sea. Most of our journey up to now has been through the inland channels or inland waterways. There's a lot of islands along the coast, and we meander our way and snake our way through these islands. But here we go out into the open sea a little bit and go to Rørvik. Rørvik, another small town in Norway. The people are beautiful and friendly, very much highlighting the Norwegian charm along the coast. A great place for taking the bikes out. We have a fleet of bikes on board that you can use. You and your partner can go out and enjoy in a scenic day, just riding around in the countryside around Rørvik. And if you want to go fishing, another active program they will offer, another active YLA, I should say, you can go fishing from here. It's great for fishing in this area. From there, we continue north further, and we go to Lofoten Islands. We actually spent 2 days there. But before we get there, I just wanted to mention one thing, that in this particular area, we will be crossing the Arctic Circle. Now, I'm somewhat of a geography buff, and all my life I've always looked at globes and maps and everything. And whenever I looked at the northern part of the world, there's that one little line that goes around that's called the Arctic Circle. And if you turn the globe a little bit south, you can see the Antarctica Circle around the south. And you say, what's the significance of that line, or those two lines? Well, the significance is that we're entering the land of the midnight sun. We're entering an area where in the summertime, anything north of that line will stay light 24 hours a day. And on the flip side, in the winter, anything above that line will be dark 24 hours a day. So now we're entering an area where when we get to Lofoten, we will be there. If we arrived at midnight, let's say, we would see this at midnight or very late. It is just absolutely spectacular. Lofoten Islands are on the bucket list of almost every Norwegian that I've ever met. And I've worked for 4 different Norwegian companies, and I've said that I've lived in Norway 2 different times in my career. It is truly an iconic destination for all Norwegians. In total, there's about 1 million people a year that get an opportunity to go here. The majority of them are Norwegians. And with us as SEADREAM, will take you, our international guests, to this iconic destination. The vistas, the beauty, the pureness, the authenticity of where we go is highlighted in this region. It is just absolutely beautiful. Small little towns again, and great for boating, for fishing, for kayaking, even for surfing. There's beaches on the western side of Lofoten where beautiful white powdery sand beaches that surfing, not for me in Norway, but there are Norwegians that live in that area that love to go surfing. The waves are great because you're out talking, you're there with the North Sea. But I would probably want to just go and do a hike and walk to the beach, which you can do, and we will make that available to our guests that want to partake when we're there. So kayaking, I mentioned, again, you can just see the pictures, and one picture is 1,000 words, so I can't really say enough. We do a sea safari where you'll get to see some sea eagles and up close. So we do that, and then on the second to the last day of this journey, on the 11th day before we disembark, we actually continue north, and we go to this place called Trollfjord, which is in a circle there. Those of you that have been with us, and I say with us because if you've ever been on a big ship, you probably never have done this, but on a small ship like SEADREAM, in the Greek Isles, we'll sail through the Corinth Canal. And this Trollfjord is similar in that the passage is really, really narrow to go through here. No more than about, I'm going to say about 100 meters max. And then we have the opportunity to go through here, not all the way through because it's a dead end, but we go in and we turn around. And again, it's another social media moment for you to be able to take your selfie in this beautiful area. We'll be playing Edvard Grieg music. When we were there in 2020 and 2021, we did this, and everybody just absolutely loved this experience. Everybody was out on deck when we were sailing through here. So we go through here, and then we continue north. Where this voyage ends, we'll be in what is defined as the Paris of the North. Why it's called the Paris of the North, I have no idea, but it is the Arctic capital, I will say, of Norway. Tromsø. Tromsø is a great city. And I had spent a lot of time in Tromsø. A little bit too cold in the wintertime, but great area to visit and spend some time here. You can go to the Arctic Cathedral. You can go take the cable car up the mountain. Actually, this picture was taken from that mountain that I'm telling you about. The town, there's some pretty cool little shops and restaurants. The waterfront, it is a great place to visit. And this is where our journey will end. There's airlift back to Oslo from here, and you can spend 1 to 10 days if you wish here exploring this particular region. It's very close to the top of the country. So when we do this, one thing that I just wanted to say is that we don't forget about our heritage, and we don't forget about our yachting style. You can go and see and feel eating out on deck with these vistas in the background is just absolutely fantastic. So one thing I should also say is that I just took you through an 11-day voyage. And this 11-day voyage, we also offer 7 days. What's the difference? The difference is really that the 7 days includes almost everything that the 11-day voyages have, with the exception of they don't go further north. We don't go to spend 2 days in the Lofoten Islands. We don't go to Tromsø. We don't go to Trollfjord. But in terms of the fjords and further south and those sailings where we snaked our way up the fjords and back, we'll do all of that on the 7-day voyages. So we offer, for those that are limited on time, take the 7 days. For those that want a little more adventure and to go to, I'm going to call it Valhalla of Norway, being the Lofoten Islands, to go north all the way up to Tromsø. And we also offer the same journey in reverse from Tromsø back to Oslo. So we offer all this. I have a short little video, but before we play it, I just wanted to say one thing. I said to you a little while ago, a picture is worth 1,000 words. But I went online and I said, what is a 1 minute video really worth? I went online to chat GPT and I said, how many words is a 1 minute video? And they said, they went through explaining a little bit of the mental gymnastics of calculating the value of one word. They say that a 1 minute video, or AI says a 1 minute video is worth 1.8 million words. So everything that I just shared with you, I'm going to share with you again on a 60-second video that captures what we did back in the day in 2020 and in 2021 with our Norwegian guests. So 1.8 million words right there, squeezed in a minute. What I did want to share with you is that we do this for 7 days and we're doing it for 11 days. I also mentioned that, there are other destinations that we're covering in 2025 and 2026. I'm going to focus just real briefly on 2026 and the opportunities that we have there. And what you'll see here is 3 additional voyages in 2026. The first one is a voyage that goes from Bergen over to Troon or Glasgow. It's the port. Troon is the port for Glasgow. This voyage is an 11-day voyage. It's going to be led by one of our captains, Captain Michael McLeod. He is Scottish, and we're going to take you to Scotland. And that voyage is almost sold out. So if you're really interested, I haven't talked about that today. I'm saving that for another webinar. But that one, if you're interested, go online, check us out, and you'll see that voyage in the limited availability on that one. And following that will be another voyage that goes over to Dublin, and from Dublin down to Bordeaux. On the one to Dublin, we'll touch Northern Ireland, and we'll visit the Titanic Museum. The picture that you see here in the small picture is of Giant's Causeway, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Very, very interesting. There's opportunity there. It hasn't really started selling enough. We're gonna talk about that in a future webinar. But what I wanted to do is just say that if there's any takeaways from this, the takeaways that you have, the first one is about our Norwegian heritage. We are taking our SEADREAM yacht-like product and bringing it to Norway. And all specially crafted by, even our owner has taken an interest in designing the itineraries himself. So he made my job a lot easier. All I had to do was execute. He gave me the template on what to use. The second thing is that we will take you to destinations that are truly off the beaten path, similar to what we do in the Greek Isles, in the Mediterranean, in the Caribbean. We take you to those destinations as SEADREAM that are truly off the beaten path, and we are recreating that by doing that in Norway with you. And the last point is really go to our website, pick up the phone, call us and book your 2026 Norway voyage. We don't have any opportunity, very limited opportunity now for 2025, but we do have opportunity for you to come with us in 2026 and experience a different type of vacation. So with that said, I wanted to just thank you all for joining me, and there may be some questions. If you have any questions, please let me know. I've got my colleague here, Don Jones. Don, do we have any questions?
Yeah, actually, you touched on it slightly towards the end, but we had a question asking when is Scotland? If you want to talk more to that.
Scotland is right around the second week. I don't have the date right on the top of my head, but it's like the second week of August. And for Scotland, if you know anything about Scotland, August is the month to go there. Towards the end of August, and I think into the very beginning of September, is the military tattoo in Edinburgh. We don't go to Edinburgh, we go on the other side, but we will be in Glasgow and give guests, if they want to, when they disembark, the opportunity to take a transfer and go over to Edinburgh, and they can see the military tattoo. That's one of those destinations, one of those things that lots of crowds, lots of people, and we'd love to partake in that, but we had limited amount of time, number one. Number two, many of our guests have already seen that. So if you've already seen it, we're going to take you somewhere else. So that's Scotland is really towards the latter half of August of 2026.
Awesome. There's another question. It said, I heard that 2025 is almost gone. How far in advance should I book 2026?
Well, now's the time. I was just talking to our Director of Revenue Management, Rod, and what he shared with me is there's a lot of uptick. There's a lot of interest. I said to him, let's see what happens after this webinar. So this is your window of opportunity right now. There's space available. If you got a specific unit that you want to be in, now's the time to really start thinking about that. Yes, it is a year and a half, 2 years out, but don't wait too long, because what will happen is same thing that I just talked about at the beginning of this webinar, where we're pretty much sold out right now. And we released those, and within, I'm going to say, 4 months, we were sold out. And that was done about the latter part of 2023.
There's another one that says, I've sailed Greek islands before. Do you also go to smaller areas in Scandinavia, Northern Europe that big cruises can't? And what places would you recommend to go to?
Well, many of them I just talked about, like Rorvik, like Vik. And it's not only about stopping at those places, it's the sail in when you see these iconic fjords and the vistas that we have there. And when we stop off, I didn't say one other thing that I should mention. In these voyages, one thing that we do in the Caribbean and in the Mediterranean, wherever possible, we drop down the marina and we take out our water sports toys, things like our jet skis, our kayaks, our paddle boards. And when we are in Norway, we will look for those little coves and areas where we can stop and open up our marina. Now, in 2020 and in 2021, we only had a complement of Norwegians on board. And in 25 and 26, they'll mostly be non-Norwegians. Norwegians are a feisty group of people. They get that Viking blood in them, and they love the weather. And you know, this is a bad joke, but one of the positive benefits of global warming is, yes, it's getting warmer. And when we are in Norway, it will be warmer than it normally has been in the past. So that means that we'll have the ability for people to actually go in. We'll drop down our water slide. I was talking to the captain the other day, and I asked him, so do you think we're going to actually use the water slide when we're in Norway? And he said, absolutely, wherever we can, we're going to drop that down and people can go in and get their splash on. So we're looking to do that. And those can only be done in those small off the beaten path destinations.
Very lovely. We have another question that just came in. It says, what are the rates to go to Norway in 2026?
The rates. Well, I'm not the revenue management guy, but I will say I do know this number off the top of my head. An 11-day voyage right now will go for $99.99. So you can go through the mental gymnastics of figuring out what that means in terms of a daily rate. But and that rate, SEADREAM's rates are all inclusive. So basically, there's no tipping, there's no port charges. Oh, I'm sorry, there are port charges, but that rate will be all inclusive and include the tips, your consumption of beverages, all meals, as many other passenger ships are included. But you can go on board for $99.99 and not have to spend another penny. Particularly when you think about, we have a fleet of bikes, we have the kayaks. You can go out and walk around in many of these places, or go riding around with your partner and enjoy the local scenery without having to pay a penny. Any other questions right now?
That seems to be all the questions we have in so far, unless there are any last minute ones that come through. But we want to thank you as well for giving such a wonderful presentation, and we want to thank all of our viewers for tuning in today, and we appreciate the time spent.
One last thing I'll say before we adjourn is that we're trying to host these webinars on a regular basis, either on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And the next one will be by our Vice President of Sales, Carlos Garzon, and he will be talking to you a little bit about the SEADREAM difference. I've touched upon those, and it's the common thread that we really want you to understand, because we are not like almost every other passenger vessel operation that's out there. We welcome you to SEADREAM. We hope that you have a great time when you come. I can almost guarantee you that you will. And we look forward to seeing you on board. Thank you again.